Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Gorman on Target. This is a show that is dedicated to firearm safety, training, and education. It's brought to you by the Wilson Hill Pistol Club, and that is Manchester's greatest little secret to be true. I have tonight in the studio a good friend of mine, Ralph Demicco, and Ralph was the owner up until very recently of Riley's Sporting Goods Store, as most of us in the shooting world know, Riley's Gun Store. So we're going to get started tonight, and welcome to the show, Ralph. Appreciate it. And,
Well, thank you for having me, Don. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll have a good time, I'm sure. One of the things I wanted to talk about was a lot of people think of gun stores and gun shops and whatever as sell guns and ammunition and, make money, and that's the end of it. But actually, there's a lot more that happens sometimes that is not seen by the public. And one of them that comes to mind for me is the Boy Scout shoot that you do in the summer. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Just to back up a little bit, Riley's has always had a sense of social responsibility. And together in that whole concept is the idea of outreach. We need to be doing things in the community that are both positive and noteworthy. One of the things that opportunity that came to me 17 years ago now was a summer camp that contacted me and wanted to know if I would be interested in doing a shooting program. And I jumped at the opportunities.
Now, this is for youth or adults?
This is for youth. Ages, at the time it was ages, or still is, ages 9 to 12.
Ah, good.
So it's a week-long camp. The shooting session runs in the afternoon. There are up to 50 shooters per week.
Really?
In 3 different sessions, so we'll have 15, 16 groups of, 3 groups of 15 or 16.
Uh-huh.
And it's done with 22s, and it's done with reactive targets. It's a whole lot of fun. And we start out by teaching basic firearm safety,
Right.
The use of the 22 rifles.
Right.
We use special, very quiet ammunition that is not... that's almost frangible in nature. And over the years, like I say, this year was my 16th year, I believe. We've trained a lot of young people. It's the most widely requested activity at camp.
Wow. Okay.
I've got volunteers that are super enthusiastic. I call these guys in June, and they're just raring to go. It's just a good, positive thing. And at the end of the week, Friday afternoon, it's a show tell. The parents are welcome to come, and parents and siblings can shoot. And it demystifies the whole firearms thing for a lot of people.
Boy, that's a great thing, too, because it seems like firearms and guns and all this, it gets such a bad rap, The only thing you see in the TV and in the papers and all the news is this wacko shot this one and gunfights and all that. Nobody sees 50 or 100 kids going to a camp to learn how to shoot and learn safely with supervision and be instructed and really enjoy the shooting sports.
Absolutely. You're right. You're absolutely right. The sum total of many people's experience with firearms or exposure to firearms comes in the form of gratuitous violence, either in the movies,
Right.
or on television,
Right.
or in the news. And the positive aspect of recreational shooting, of fun shooting, never seems to get in the forefront. And I know that Wilson Hill Pistol Club is a front runner in the instructional and safety aspect of the shooting game. And it's very commendable that people take on the idea that there are people out there who want to learn how to shoot.
Yeah. I do a lot of instructing over there and have done for years. And believe me, there are a lot of people that come to our classes, beginners, brand new, never held a gun in my life, I'm nervous. And we take them through it very slowly, very, very easy. Make sure, do you have the confidence at this point? Good. Now we'll bring you to the next point. And by the end of the day, it is not unusual to have people who've never handled a gun, never fired a gun, sitting there saying, wow, I think I'm going to get out of Riley's and buy a pistol. This was great.
As an aside to that, typically, and not all the time, but more than most of the time, the top shooters in each of the groups that I instruct for that summer program tend to be young ladies who have never handled a firearm before, but who are attentive and listen to instructions, understand what the instructors are telling them, and in the end, they turn out to be the most successful.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. I'll let you in on a little secret, but you gotta promise me not to tell anybody.
Promise.
Good. If I walked out on the out the road here in Elm Street in Manchester, downtown Manchester, and I took 10 women who had never picked up or fired a gun in their life, and 10 fellows who had never fired a gun in their life, put them on the range, put them through the course so that they understand, and let them shoot, guarantee you the women will outshoot the guys.
I agree. I've seen it.
Yep, every time. And it's a matter of them being attentive, like you said. They pay attention to all the little details. They're there to learn. They understand they're there to learn. So they really do. They absorb it. Unfortunately, us guys got a little bit of a macho streak.
Yes.
I know that.
I don't need to stop for instructions. I know where I'm going.
I know where I'm going. So, yeah. So, anyway, getting back to the youth shoot, what camp is it? Where do you hold this?
It's held on South Road in Candia, New Hampshire. It's actually a church group, Candia Congregational Church.
Oh, okay.
Has a wilderness camp, it's called. It's a week-long program. There are in excess of 200 kids that attend every year. It's an all-week program, all day, and it's outdoor exposure. They do rope courses. They do all sorts of archery, shooting. One year they had rocketry, model rocketry. You can imagine that. But it's a wonderful experience for kids to get out there on a big old 200-acre farm and just enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah, sounds great. What's the reaction from the parents? I'm going to guess here, if you have a parent that's a hunter and has always hunted, and then the kids have been brought up hunting and with guns and so on and so forth, that it's probably good reception. However, what about the parents who never shot, a little bit nervous about little Johnny and a rifle, that kind of folk? What do you run into there?
I get to see those people at the show and tell last afternoon, Friday, where they're invited after the shooting program ends to come up and ask questions, observe their little Johnny or Mary shooting, and shoot them themselves. If they would like to come and participate, they're welcome to do that. We dispel a lot of preconceived notions and a lot of hesitation by doing just that. And after all, they're not totally estranged from guns in the sense that they have signed the paper
Right.
to allow their child to participate in the program. So they're open-minded to that extent. But there are a lot of curious people who will come by and just see what it's all about. And I got to tell you, we have I think 100% success rate. It's terrific. It's well attended and well received.
Now, when you're actually involved in running the shoot, so you've got 15, 20 young folks out there with rifles, What about the safety precautions? A lot of people don't understand the amount of safety that goes behind the scenes that people don't see in regards to a program like that, or just any shooting event. But in yours particular, what are the safety precautions? Tell me about that.
We begin on Monday of the week with a very detailed safety briefing for these children. And basically, it's the cardinal rule, which is never point at anything you don't intend to shoot.
Right.
There's one instructor for every student. In other words, we have 4 shooting positions, and there are 4 instructors plus myself rotating back and forth. Mm-hmm. So they're given one-to-one, hands-on guidance, and they're watched like hawks. And we insist that rifle continues to be pointed downrange, and we have never, believe it or not, have even come close to having a situation that merited, some eye rolls. It just we've got a perfect record, thank God, and we're going to keep that way.
And what about the qualifications of your instructors, as you call them? Are they in fact NRA instructors?
Oh, absolutely. We have this past season have one Derry police officer who's the firearms training officer for Derry. He took a week's vacation and so graciously gave of his time. I have two former military officers who have been involved in firearms all of their lives. They hold NRA certification, basic rifle, pistol, and shotgun certification. Mm-hmm. And then there's me, who I am an NRA certified instructor.
I understand you've shot a few guns.
A few of
them, yeah. I understand you got a big cannon out in your.
Oh yeah, I'm into cannons now. Artillery is my latest kick.
So you've got a perfect safety record out there with all of these very young shooters who are learning about the sportsmanship, the fun of competition. And do you give trophies or anything like that?
Well, that's
How
funny.
Does that work?
That's funny you asked that, because invariably one of the children will say at the beginning of this week, "Do we all get trophies?" And I say, well, unlike baseball or soccer, no. The best shooter, we keep score, the best shooter will get a trophy. I said, and this is it's not a competitive game. We want you to have fun.
Right.
But if you choose to be competitive, you will be competing against everybody for the highest score, and there will be one trophy per group that will be given away. And this past year we had 2 dead ties, dead heat ties, and we break that tie by shooting one shot at a little tiny dime-size target from the same rifle. So the first shooter sits down and shoots, next one gets up, shoots, and whoever comes closest to the center gets the trophy.
That's the winner. Huh?
So we don't subscribe to the feel good thing about everybody needs a trophy. We don't downplay people's not doing well. We help them. We are positive about how we do it, and without the embellishments of all the trophy for everybody.
Beautiful. That's really great to hear, and people just don't hear enough of that. They don't even know it's on. They don't know what's going on. I'd like to shift gears, if I may. There's another aspect of a firearms store, if you will, a shop. Again, that people don't really see. They don't know what's going on. And that has to do with the suicide prevention program that you have over there at Riley's. Could you fill us in on that one?
This is a little more complex than meets the eye. In the late '80s, I was approached by public health officials from Dartmouth and to see whether I would like to become involved in a firearms safety coalition. And so I ran to my dictionary and I looked up coalition.
Good.
And,
That's a good move.
I found out that there are like-minded people and perhaps some not like-minded people. And I immediately said, yes, I would, knowing that my voice and those of the firearms world that I might drag onto that coalition with me would be a check and balance for something that might go very wrong in terms of firearms safety legislation. So I'm always looking forward to the potential what if. So we got the Firearms Safety Coalition started, and it was an awareness and education program. It was very non-toxic in terms of it resulted in no legislation that was shall we say, offensive in any way. Sturm Ruger was behind it. Gun Owners in New Hampshire was behind it. And it turned out to be a very positive thing. Made a video, and it promoted safety, firearm safety, primarily in the home. We have these young kids running around. They really don't need to have access to daddy or mommy's self-protection firearm. Mm-hmm. So that was all done, and about 5 years ago, I got a call from Elaine Frank, who was the one who called me on the other project, and she said, "Hi." She said, "I want some thoughts from you." I said, "Yes." She said, "What do you think about getting the coalition back together to do a suicide awareness effort program?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Is it needed?" She said, "Well, you haven't heard apparently."
Yeah.
I said, "No." She says, "Well, your store, in a very short period of time," and that would have been 2 or 3 months prior to our conversation, sold several firearms, 3 as a matter of fact, to individuals, unrelated, who took their lives. Ooh. And we just, we want to look into possibly doing something that would help dealers. It's a dealer-focused program.
Sure.
So we met again, and our store policy has always been we do not need to make a sale. If there's anything about an individual, a transaction that's taking place,
sure.
If there's any suspicion that the individual is under the influence of alcohol, under the influence of drugs, right. Talking irrationally, buying a gun for another person, we tell the clerks, they're not on commission, we tell them, put the brakes on it on this transaction. We don't want this to happen.
Right.
If there's a problem, you go get a supervisor. The supervisor will handle it. So we have very, very strict codes as to whom and the conditions under which we sell firearms. Mm-hmm. So we reviewed the tapes in 2 of these suicides that took place, and they were just one of the individuals spent 53 minutes on tape in the store, acting like a normal customer, like you would. Let me look at this one. Let me look at this one. What do you think of this? Gee, I like this. This is
really?
This feels good. And then went out, and within 3/4 of an hour took his life. So we can't do much about people who have absolutely made up their mind that they're going to end their lives.
Right.
That is a fact that we just have to accept. What we were after was people who are looking for short-term solutions, and they view suicide as they can't see their girlfriend left, their boyfriend left, and they just cannot see any way out of this. My gosh, this was the best thing that ever happened to me, and now he or she is gone, and I've lost my job, my wife has left. And what we try to say to people is this: look, there's 2 aspects of this. As a dealer, as a firearms dealer, you have an interaction with a customer, and that consists of perhaps, "Hi, how are you, sir? What would you like this firearm for?" What are you
Sure.
going to use this gun for?
Sure, absolutely.
Oh, I don't know. Sports shooting. Okay, then and you get an idea, and you kind of lead them down the path, and show them various things for the purpose which they declare to you.
Right, right.
And I've had these, and when you get individuals that come in and sullen looks on their face and say, "Let's see that gun there, please." And you put the gun on the counter, open it up, clear it, and so forth, put it on the counter, and they don't even touch it. And they say, "I'll take it."
Right off that, the warning bells
So
are going
the
off.
warning bell that goes off is this. You say, "Well, gee, you have any firearms handling experience?"
Sure.
And they say, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And you might say to them, "Would you point to the safety?" In the case of a revolver, they invariably point to the cylinder
The
release
cylinder
mechanism.
release button. Yeah, right.
Because that's what they see.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a cue, and then you say, I think before you do this, you should think about this. Perhaps you should get some training. We refer them to training situations. And if you feel that your life is in danger and you do not have the training, there are several other things we can suggest to you, pepper gas, mace
Right.
type thing. But we really can't sell you the gun because it would not be fair to you
Right.
for us to turn you loose without training and without some level of competence with this firearm. We have in the past I've had a lot over the numerous years that I've been there of individuals come in, attempt to buy a firearm, clearly in distress. So what we're saying to dealers is you have to key on this, you have to look for this, and you have to be proactive, and don't be shy about confronting the person and saying, "Do you really want to buy this gun? Are you going to harm yourself?" And because many times these people are so confused and under so much duress that they'll break down and tell you.
Really?
And you can guide them to get help. You can at least put the brakes on. And statistically, if an individual, most individuals who are thwarted in their initial attempt to purchase a firearm to take their life,
Right.
do not go on to take their lives. They get over the crisis somehow. If they get some help, they get over the crisis,
Right.
and they move on, and things are well. We're not psychologists. We're not going to pick them all up. And we're not going to, everyone who just doesn't quite look right. If I have a funny smirk on my face, I don't want to be denied, nor should I, perhaps.
Right.
It just, so it's a program that was initially done with the help of researchers from Harvard, actually,
Harvard University. Really?
School of Medicine.
Wow.
Wonderful people, just diligent. And I will tell you, this coalition, in the 5 years that I've been involved, there has not been one word of anti-firearm sentiment expressed, implied, or any other way brought to the forefront. So they've been very respectful of the firearms position, and the goal has and is suicide awareness, suicide prevention.
See, it gets back to the theme of this program: education, safety, training. That's the real answer, not going out and making laws to reduce a 20-round magazine from 20 to 10. That's a whole lot of hot air. That's showmanship for some politician somewhere. This is the stuff in the trenches that really pays off and really counts, and this is the stuff nobody sees.
You're right.
The
program was received. They did a questionnaire. They got volunteers to go out. They went around to gun shops in the state. There are about little less than 50% of the gun stores in the state have hung the posters. There's a nice poster, and there are some nice little cards, information cards. And basically what it says is, if you or someone you know.
Let's see if we can get a shot. I don't know if they can come in close enough to actually read that.
If you or someone you know is in distress, be aware.
Why don't you read that off for the...
Sure. Are you or someone you love at risk of suicide? The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is an 800 number. Let's talk. And basically what it says is we're trying to put time and distance between someone in distress and a firearm.
Wow.
And we don't know. It's probably not measurable. But we know that if the dealers on the dealer level are aware, and my career, which is pretty long, I've had, I would, if I had to put a number on it, 10 or 11 major incidents where I absolutely know people came in to buy firearms to take their lives, and we've able to confront them and end it.
Well, Ralph, we're unfortunately we're getting near the end of this program. We had a show last time in regards. We had a mental health expert here and attorney on the very topic of mental health and who should own firearms, and evidently it was quite successful. So what you're doing is really a follow-up to that. And again, nobody sees this. It's behind the scenes, the work that's being done. But let me ask you this. Would it be possible for you to come back and do another segment, do another show with me? And we got all kinds of things we could go over.
Oh, it's winter and I have nothing to do. Yes.
Oh,
I'd be delighted. Don. Thank you.
Well, that would be fun. So this is Gorman, Don Gorman on onTarget. I'll be wrapping up this segment of the show. You have to forgive me. I got a little bit of a cold here tonight. But we are really serious about firearm safety training and education. So this is the thrust of what we want to do. So I hope to see you back at our next show. And Ralph, you say you'll be able to do it?
I will.
Since you have nothing to do all winter. Yeah, that sounds great. Last time I talked to your wife, she had different ideas, by the way. So this is Gorman onTarget. Remember, folks, reducing a magazine capacity from 20 rounds to 10 rounds is not going to solve anything. Training, education, and instruction. That's the answer. Thank you and good night.